If last night's healthy leftovers left you feeling bloated, if your tomatoes taste watery, or your bread turns stale in the fridge, the cold is the culprit, not your choices. Here's the simple hidden truth. Cold forces changes in your food. It's what makes bread's texture turn hard, practically overnight. It's what bursts the walls inside a tomato, turning it mushy and bland. The cold can even make things like potatoes taste strangely sweet, changing how they cook entirely. All of this can lead to that uncomfortable feeling after a meal, wasted food, and frankly, less joy in your kitchen. So in this video, I'm giving you a clear, evidence-based guide to the 9 everyday foods that should never be refrigerated and the right way to store them to lock in flavor, nutrients, and safety. Make sure you stay with me to the end because I've got a simple, printable checklist you can put right on your fridge door tonight. And a warning, don't skip number 2. It surprises almost everyone. While you watch, drop a comment with where you're tuning in from and one food you're always unsure how to store. I read and reply to every single one with practical, science-backed tips. If you find this helpful, tap that like button so this video can reach more seniors who need it. And subscribe to Senior Health Guard for our weekly guidance on making your kitchen a true source of health. All right, let's stop the guesswork. It's time to make your food start working for you, not against you. Let's begin. Number 9, potatoes. Let's start with number 9, potatoes. Listen closely. Refrigerating them can engineer a toxic problem. This isn't hype, it's chemistry in your kitchen. Cold triggers cold-induced sweetening, converting starches into excess sugars. Alone, that skews flavor. Add high heat, frying, baking, roasting, and those sugars react with an amino acid, primarily asparagine, in a Maillard-type reaction to form acrylamide. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies acrylamide as a probable human carcinogen. Evidence: University of Idaho researchers found that within 2 weeks of refrigeration, potato sugar content surged around 300%. They tested more than 500 samples. The pattern was consistent. Texture suffers too. Cold disrupts cell structure, leaving potatoes gritty and oddly sweet. If mashed potatoes sometimes taste off, this is why. Correct storage is simple. Keep potatoes in a cool, dark place, about 45-50 degrees Celsius, 7 to 10 degrees Celsius. A pantry, cellar, or even a cardboard box in a closet works. Darkness matters because light stimulates chlorophyll and solanine. Green patches signal elevated solanine, which is toxic. Use a paper bag or open basket to allow airflow. Avoid plastic, which traps moisture and speeds rot. Don't wash before storage. Brush off loose soil instead so skins stay dry and protective. Build a maintenance habit, inspect weekly, remove spoiled tubers, and keep the rest dry. If a potato is heavily greened, intensely bitter, or very sprouted and soft, discard it. One more pro tip: create a DMZ between potatoes and onions. They're terrible neighbors. Each releases gases that hasten the other's spoilage, so keep them separated, ideally several feet apart. Handled properly, potatoes can last up to 3 months. Put them in the refrigerator and you can degrade them in 2 weeks. Your move: reclaim flavor, texture, and safety by storing potatoes where they belong: cool, dark, ventilated, and far from onions. Your future meals will taste better and safer. Number 8, bread. Coming in at number 8, bread. This one surprises almost everyone. Refrigerating a loaf doesn't protect it, it speeds staling. Here's the mechanism in plain language. In the cold, starch molecules in the crumb recrystallize and squeeze out moisture, a process called starch retrogradation. Texture turns firm and dry, the spring goes missing, and the slice feels lifeless. Food scientists have quantified this. Researchers associated with the Institute of Food Technologists reported that bread stored at typical refrigerator temperatures goes stale about 6 times faster than bread kept at room temperature. In measurements of crumb firmness, refrigerated loaves became hard and crumbly within 3 days. Room temperature loaves stayed pleasantly soft for roughly a week. Flavor suffers too. The volatile aroma compounds that make fresh bread smell incredible degrade rapidly in the cold, so your taste buds aren't wrong when fridge bread tastes like cardboard. Better storage is simple and logical. Keep bread at room temperature in a bread box or paper bag. You want modest airflow to discourage mold, yet enough ambient humidity to keep the crumbs soft. Avoid sealed plastic for long storage. It traps moisture against the crust, inviting mold while the interior still retrogrades. If you won't finish the loaf within a week, change tactics. Slice first, then freeze. Freezing preserves structure better than refrigeration because it halts changes quickly before ice crystals can damage the crumb. When you're ready to eat, move slices straight from freezer to toaster or a hot oven. Do not thaw on the counter. Condensation will make the surface wet while the interior stays dry, amplifying staleness. So now I have to ask, be honest. Are you a fridge store or a counter store? Drop a comment below and confess your bread storage sins. Let's see who we can save from the tragedy of stale toast. Leaving the potato minefield behind, we step into bread's quiet collapse in the fridge. Number 7. Honey. Let's talk about one of the cruelest ironies in your kitchen. I'm talking about honey. Forget perhaps. It is nature's perfect food, a substance so stable, archaeologists found edible 3,000-year-old jars in Egyptian tombs. It defies time itself. And yet you can utterly sabotage it in a matter of weeks with one simple mistake. Putting it in the refrigerator. The cold triggers a chain reaction of destruction. First, crystallization. That silky golden liquid seizes up into a gritty, solid block, useless for anything but chipping away at with a spoon. But the real damage is more subtle and far more permanent. Every time you open that cold jar, condensation, water, creeps inside. And water is the mortal enemy of honey's eternal shelf life. And you're not just losing texture, you're stripping away its power. The National Honey Board confirmed that cold storage obliterates up to 35% of honey's powerful antimicrobial properties. Think about that. The very compounds that made honey a potent natural antibiotic for ancient civilizations, the reason they used it to treat battlefield wounds, are being systematically dismantled by your kitchen appliance. And the flavor, it gets butchered. Honey's complex profile comes from over 180 distinct compounds. The cold fractures that symphony of flavor, leaving you with a one-note sweetness. Your expensive raw Manuka honey, it now tastes like cheap generic syrup. The correct way to store it is to simply leave it alone. Keep honey at room temperature in a tightly sealed container, ideally between 64 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep it out of direct sunlight, which can also degrade its quality. If your honey does crystallize, don't throw it out. You can rescue it. Just place the jar in a bowl of warm, not boiling, water and stir gently. It will return to its liquid state without destroying its beneficial properties. And here's a final critical detail for those who buy high-quality honey. The color is a code for its antioxidant content. The darker the honey, the higher the payload. But those precious antioxidants in your dark buckwheat or avocado honey are exceptionally fragile. The cold targets them first, neutralizing the very health benefits you paid for. From a food born to live forever at room temp to beans that die by a chill, enter coffee. Number 6. Cough. Coming in at number 6. Coffee lovers, listen up. That expensive coffee you're stashing in the fridge, you're ruining it. Think of your refrigerator as coffee's ultimate nemesis, and here's the reason why. Coffee beans are highly porous, acting like tiny sponges that soak up odors and flavors from their environment. Your fridge is a cocktail of smells from last night's takeout, that piece of forgotten cheese, and other lingering aromas. Your coffee is absorbing it all. This is the likely culprit behind your morning cup's strange taste, but odor absorption is just part of the problem. The constant warming and cooling inside your refrigerator causes condensation to form on the beans. This moisture leads to premature aging and can even encourage mold. Research confirms this. with one study finding that refrigerated beans lose a staggering 60% of their aromatic compounds in just 1 week. Furthermore, the flavorful oils within coffee beans harden when cold. When you grind these chilled beans, the solidified oils cannot extract properly during the brewing process. The result is a weak, underwhelming coffee that lacks its true character. The correct storage method is in an airtight container, kept at room temperature. And not just any container, it should be opaque, as light also degrades coffee quality. The ideal storage environment is a cool, stable spot between 60 and 70 degrees Celsius. It's best to buy coffee in small amounts that you'll finish within 2 weeks, as exposure to oxygen, coffee's other great enemy, starts the moment you open the bag. While some enthusiasts use vacuum-sealed containers, the simplest solution is often to just buy fresh and use it quickly. For truly long-term storage, the freezer is a better option than the fridge, but with one critical rule: you can only freeze it once. Portion your coffee into weekly amounts, seal them in airtight bags, and only remove what you need for immediate use. Never refreeze coffee, as the repeated freezing and thawing causes irreversible moisture damage. So how do you store your coffee beans? Share your own tips and tricks in the comments below. Number 5. Garlic. At number 5, refrigerating garlic is not preserving it, it's setting a slow trap for your health and your cooking. This isn't only about lost flavor. Handled wrong, garlic becomes unpleasant and potentially risky. The moment bulbs sit in the cold, physiology shifts and sprouting begins. Those green shoots you notice aren't harmless accents. They're bitterness flags that can irritate sensitive digestions. And that still isn't the main concern. The bigger threat is invisible. A refrigerator's cold, humid air encourages surface molds on bulbs and cloves, and some molds can produce mycotoxins, compounds you don't want anywhere near dinner. Laboratory work from UC Davis reported that 10 days of storage can slash allicin by 50%. Allicin is the star molecule, the antimicrobial, antiviral, heart-supportive reason people prize garlic. Chill bulbs and you're throwing away half the potential benefit before you even start chopping. Texture goes downhill too. Cold damages cell structure, leaving cloves watery and mush-prone. Try to mince and you get a sticky paste that smears across the knife and your fingers. Infuriating, and a recipe for uneven cooking. So adopt the pro setup: a cool, dry, shaded spot with airflow, mesh bag, small basket, or open bowl on the counter. Aim for 60-65 Gigawatt, 15-18 cc. For peeled cloves, keep them dry and use them quickly. Avoid the true enemies: sealed plastic and tight containers. Garlic needs to breathe. Keep it out of sunlight, which drives bitterness, and far from the stove. Warmth and steam can push a sprouting overnight. Get this right and whole heads can keep up to 6 months. Once a bulb is broken, use the separate cloves within about 10 days for best punch. Final upgrade. Room temperature garlic is alive with aroma. Cold solidifies essential oils. Gentle warmth frees them. Store correctly and your dishes won't merely taste better, they'll taste transformed. Number 4. Bananas. Number 4, bananas. Bananas and refrigerators are a mismatch. Put a bunch in the fridge and they'll turn into a black, mushy mess. The problem is deeper than looks. Cold triggers chilling injury. Because bananas are tropical, their cells aren't adapted to low temperatures. Membranes rupture, enzymes leak, and the fruit begins to break down from the inside out. According to the Queensland Department of Agriculture, bananas stored below 56 centigrade Fahrenheit lose around 80% of their vitamin C in just 5 days. Cold also stops the formation of new beneficial compounds. During normal ripening, bananas continue to build phytochemicals, but refrigeration shuts that chemistry down. So a blackened peel isn't only ugly. It's a sign that the fruit's defenses have failed. Those brown patches are zones of dead tissue. Dead tissue can harbor bacteria and mold even before you can see growth. The fix is straightforward. Keep bananas at room temperature, ideally 56-70 degrees, and hang them to prevent bruising. Keep them away from sunlight and heaters and avoid sealed plastic at room temperature. Trapped moisture speeds rot and encourages off odors. Ethylene gas needs to circulate freely for proper ripening. You can even steer the pace. To ripen faster, place bananas in a paper bag with an apple. To slow ripening, separate the bunch and wrap each stem with plastic wrap. This can reduce ethylene release by up to 40%. When bananas reach your preferred ripeness, short-term refrigeration, 1 to 2 days, is acceptable. The peel may darken, but the flesh is still fine. Better yet, peel and freeze for smoothies. Frozen bananas whip into a creamy texture without adding ice, so flavors stay concentrated. In short, avoid long, cold storage, use controlled ripening, and freeze. Don't chill once they're ready. Your fruit will taste better, keep its nutrients longer, and stay safer to eat. Number 3. Onions. At number 3, refrigerating onions may be the most common storage error people make. The harm starts immediately and can't be undone. Here's what begins the moment you shut that fridge door. Typical refrigerator humidity sits near 95%. Onions need 65% or less. That extra moisture slides through the papery skins and sets up ideal conditions for mold to thrive and spread. Black mold on onions can produce aflatoxins, among the most carcinogenic substances identified by scientists. Even before visible mold, cold temperatures drive starches in onions to convert into sugars. One Texas University study observed a 270% jump in sugar after 2 weeks of refrigeration. That shift rewires flavor and cooking behavior. Your French onion soup veers toward dessert. Texture turns soft and watery because ice crystals form inside cells and rupture them. After this damage, onions won't caramelize the way they should. Those gorgeous, deep, golden strands you see at restaurants? Unachievable with fridge-stored onions. Instead, keep whole bulbs in a cool, dry, well-ventilated place. A pantry or cellar works best. Aim for 45-55 degree F. Never stash them in plastic bags. Onions must breathe. A mesh bag, basket, or even clean pantyhose is excellent. Keep onions well away from potatoes. Worth repeating, each releases gases that make the other spoil faster. Also avoid direct sun, which stimulates sprouting. Once you cut an onion, the rules change. Sliced onions belong in the refrigerator inside an airtight container and should be used within 7 days. The cut surface is vulnerable to microbes, so refrigeration becomes essential. But for whole onions, the refrigerator is off limits. Whole bulbs should always stay out of the cold, and that single habit protects flavor, texture, and safety while keeping your cooking consistent. Number 2. Tomatoes. Now we've come to the food likely to shock you, tomatoes. The reality of refrigerating tomatoes is unsettling, yet the evidence is hard to ignore. University of Florida researchers made a striking discovery. Cold storage alters far more than texture and taste. It actually switches off genes, specifically those that drive the creation of key flavor compounds. Once those pathways go dark, they don't fully recover. Even after warming, the loss persists. In tests surveying more than 25,000 genes, temperatures below 54 to 100 degrees deactivated hundreds. Functionally, the tomato stops behaving like a tomato. What remains is a red, watery balloon, thin on character. The stakes are serious for older adults. Tomatoes are an excellent source of lycopene, a powerful antioxidant tied to heart and cancer protection. Cold storage can reduce lycopene availability by up to 65%, and the problem compounds. Lycopene absorption depends on partner enzymes. Refrigeration disrupts those enzymes, so the remainder delivers little benefit. Microscopy shows the mechanical wreckage. Ice crystals expand between cell walls, puncturing tissue throughout the fruit. That's why chilled tomatoes turn mealy and grainy. The internal architecture has been shredded. So store tomatoes at room temperature, stem side down. That position minimizes moisture entry at the stem scar and helps block microbes. The ideal range is 55 to 70 degrees Celsius. Shield them from direct sun, but don't hide them in a closed, dark cabinet. Indirect light helps maintain quality. Avoid plastic bags. Tomatoes release ethylene, which must escape. Trapped gas accelerates decay. One rotten tomato sealed in plastic can ruin a whole batch in under a day. Use ripe tomatoes within 3 to 5 days. If you have extras, cook them into sauce and freeze it instead. Cooking increases lycopene bioavailability and freezing preserves it well. Number 1. Avocados. We've saved the most important for last, avocados. What refrigeration does to them should be a culinary misdemeanor. The damage is sweeping. Avocados carry over 20 essential nutrients and are among the few fruits rich in healthy fats, especially oleic acid, vital for brain health and memory in older adults. Chill them, and those fats undergo lipid peroxidation. Cold accelerates oxidation, spawning free radicals instead of nourishing lipids. Stanford University researchers found refrigerated avocados lose about 90% of antioxidant activity within 4 days, vitamins E and C included. Those antioxidants help quell inflammation, support eye health, and boost absorption of nutrients from other foods. Here's the darker twist. The cold doesn't merely pause ripening, it activates polyphenol oxidase, the browning enzyme. In low temperatures, it degrades cell walls and converts beneficial compounds into bitter, potentially irritating byproducts. Texture collapse follows. That lush creaminess turns stringy and wet, the fats separate from the fiber, and you're left with an oily, unmashable mess. Do this instead. Simple rules, huge payoff later. Keep unripe avocados at room temperature, ideally 65 to 75 degree, in a bowl on the counter, never sealed away, so air can circulate. To speed ripening, tuck them in a paper bag with a banana. The ethylene can have the waiting time. Once ripe, limited refrigeration, 2 to 3 days, is tolerable, but expect noticeable quality loss. A smarter strategy is staggering purchases, so a few are always nearing peak. Cut fruit to finish later. Leave the pit in the unused half, brush the flesh with lemon juice, and place it in an airtight container with a slice of onion. The onion's sulfur compounds help limit browning without affecting flavor. Stored this way, cutting avocados can last up to 2 days at room temperature. Handle them properly and you keep brain-friendly fats, the plush texture, and age-defending nutrients intact. Your journey to better health starts with a single click. Subscribe to Senior Health Guard for more science-backed wellness strategies. In our next video, we'll uncover a simple evening habit that can help reduce joint stiffness and make your mornings more comfortable.